On December 4th, 1872, a ship was found drifting in the Atlantic Ocean, completely empty. No captain, no crew, not a single soul on board. Her sails were still partly set, catching winds she no longer needed. Below deck, something stranger was waiting. A table set for breakfast, food half eaten, a cup of tea gone cold. 6 months of food and water sat untouched in the hold. Whatever happened aboard the Mary Celeste happened fast, and in an instant, no struggle was recorded, no warning was written down. And in over 150 years, no one has ever fully explained it. The Mary Celeste set sail from New York on November 7, 1872, bound for Genoa, Italy. At the helm was Captain Benjamin Briggs, an experienced sailor with an excellent reputation on his first voyage as owner of the ship. Briggs came from a family of sailors. His father and several of his brothers had all commanded ships of their own, and one brother had already been lost at sea years earlier. He brought his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, along for the journey, a common practice for captains who could afford it. 7 crew members joined them, including 2 German brothers, Volkert and Boy Lorenzen, and a cook named Edward Head. All were described by those who knew them as capable, sober, and reliable men, with no history of drinking or conflict aboard ship. In the hold sat 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol, industrial grade, destined for Italian wine fortification. In a detail that would later feel almost impossible, Briggs spent the evening before departure dining with a fellow captain, David Morehouse of the DEI Gratia. Neither man could have known that within a month, Morehouse's ship would be the one to find the Mary Celeste adrift and abandoned. Nearly a month later, on December 4th, the crew of another ship, the DEI Gratia, spotted something strange on the horizon. A vessel was moving erratically, yawing from side to side, her sails partially set and torn, no one visible on deck. Captain David Morehouse recognized her immediately. It was the Mary Celeste, the ship he had dined aboard just weeks before. He sent a small boarding party across the choppy water. What they found made no sense. The deck was wet, one hatch cover lay open near the bow, and the ship was listing slightly to one side. The ship's compass had been knocked out of its housing and was found broken. An axe lay on the deck for no clear reason. But the ship was seaworthy, still floating steady enough to have crossed hundreds of miles alone. Her cargo was largely intact, and there was no one aboard, not the captain, not his wife, not his daughter, not a single member of the crew. The details only deepened the mystery. The ship's only lifeboat was gone, along with the mainsail's halyard rope, cut and trailing in the water. Both the sextant and chronometer, essential for navigation, were missing, along with the ship's papers. In the hold, one of the bilge pumps had been partially dismantled, and several feet of water sat below deck, yet nothing of value was missing. Sarah's sewing machine still had thread in it. The captain's pipe rested on deck. A crew member's oilskin coat still hung from its hook, as if its owner meant to come right back for it. No note was left behind. No sign of a struggle marked the deck or the cabins. The last logbook entry was dated November 25th, 9 days before the ship was found, hundreds of miles from where the DEI Gratia intercepted her. 9 days that, to this day, no one has ever accounted for. One early theory pointed to mutiny. Newspapers of the era ran with it eagerly, speculating that a drunken crew had turned against Captain Briggs, seized the ship, and cast the family adrift, or worse. At the salvage hearing in Gibraltar, the colony's Attorney General, Frederick Solly Flood, became obsessed with proving foul play. He was convinced the crew had broken into the alcohol cargo, gotten drunk, murdered the Briggs family, and fled. He inspected the ship for weeks, searching for bloodstains, even sending stains found on the captain's sword and the deck for laboratory testing. Every single test came back negative. There were no signs of violence anywhere on board. No blood, no struggle, no forced entry. Several of the crew had sailed with Briggs before and had no history of conflict with him. And if mutiny or fraud were the motive, why leave the cargo, the money, and the family's valuables completely untouched? Solly Flood's theory collapsed under its own investigation, and for most historians today, mutiny simply doesn't hold together. A more widely accepted theory involves the cargo itself. Some of the alcohol barrels were made of red oak, more porous than the white oak used for the rest, and may have leaked flammable vapor into the sealed hold. Ships carrying volatile cargo were in known danger in the 1870s, and more than one crew had abandoned a vessel over false alarms. In 2006, chemist Andrea Sella recreated the conditions in a lab, filling a replica hold with butane gas and igniting it. The result was a pressure wave forceful enough to blow open a hatch instantly, yet it left no fire, no smoke, and no scorch marks behind, which matched the undamaged state of the Mary Celeste perfectly. If Briggs heard or felt an explosion like that, he may have believed the entire ship was about to catch fire and ordered everyone into the lifeboat immediately. It would explain why the hatch was found open and why the crew appeared to have left in such a hurry. Everyone would have crowded into the single lifeboat, tethered to the Mary Celeste by that same rope later found cut and trailing. If the line snapped in rough seas or was deliberately released too soon, the ship would have sailed on alone, while the lifeboat and everyone in it vanished into the open Atlantic, never to be seen again. Other explanations have followed over the decades. Some point to a waterspout, a rotating column of seawater that could have created sudden, terrifying pressure changes below deck. Others suggest a seaquake, an underwater tremor capable of damaging cargo and rattling a crew into panic. And some theories owe more to fiction than fact. A sensationalized short story, published anonymously in 1884 by a young writer named Arthur Conan Doyle, added details that never happened: a full breakfast still steaming, valuables scattered everywhere, a ship found with every sail perfectly set. None of it was true, but the story spread so widely that many of its invented details are still repeated as fact today. The real Mary Celeste sailed on for another 13 years after her discovery, changing hands again and again, and earning a reputation as a cursed, unlucky ship among sailors who refused to serve on her. In 1885, her final captain, Gilman Parker, deliberately wrecked her on a reef near Haiti in a scheme to collect the insurance money. He was caught and stood trial for fraud, in an ending almost too fitting for a ship already famous for the impossible. As for what happened on that November morning, somewhere in the Atlantic, the table is still set, and history never came back to clear it.